Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fundamental ideas in theology, the nature of the adversary.
So let's get right to it. We're tackling a huge question. Where does temptation actually come from? Is it some kind of external cosmic enemy plotting against us? Or is it more of an internal psychological battle? As we're about to see, the answer changes dramatically depending on the tradition, and that has massive implications for how you think about personal responsibility and what the spiritual life is all about.
To really get a handle on the adversary, we need to meet the three main players in the Abrahamic traditions. You've got Satan in Christian theology, this powerful cosmic foe. Then there's the Yetzer Hara from Rabbinic Judaism, which is something totally different, an internal human drive. And finally, Iblis in Islam, an external spiritual enemy. Let's start by looking at where they came from.
For two of these figures, the whole story kicks off with the fall from grace. And what was the cause? Well, it boils down to one of the oldest flaws in the book: pride.
In Christian theology, this verse from Isaiah is often seen as the key to understanding Satan's fall. It's interpreted as his inner thoughts right before he rebelled. The idea is, he was this incredibly powerful angel, a cherub, but his ambition and pride got the best of him. He wanted to be like God, and that led to his expulsion from heaven, setting him up as our external enemy.
And you see a really similar theme in the Quran with the story of Iblis. He was a jinn, and he flat out refused Allah's command to bow down to the first human, Adam. And his reason? Pure arrogance. He basically said, I'm made of fire, he's just made of clay, I'm better. That prideful refusal is what seals his fate.
So here's the crucial point to lock in. In both Christianity and Islam, the adversary is an external being. This isn't just a metaphor for a bad mood. We're talking about a separate, conscious entity whose rebellion makes him a direct opponent to humanity's spiritual journey.
But what if the greatest enemy isn't out there in the cosmos at all? Rabbinic Judaism spins this concept in a completely different direction, moving the battlefield from the heavens right into the human heart.
The rabbinic sages came up with this idea of the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. Now, what's so important here is that this is not a fallen angel. It's a fundamental part of our nature, actually put there by God. Think of it as the engine for all our desires and ambitions. It's not evil in itself. It's more of a neutral force that, if we don't manage it, can lead us astray. And this right here, this famous line from the Talmud, is a total game changer. It takes the character of the Satan from the Hebrew Bible, the one who acts like a heavenly prosecutor in the book of Job, and completely internalizes him. It says that Satan is just another name for our Yetzer Hara. It transforms this external figure into a powerful metaphor for our own inner drive to do wrong. This chart just lays it out so clearly. The difference is huge, right? One view says we're in a battle against an outside enemy that we have to defeat. The other says the struggle is really about mastering a force that's inside of us, a part of our own creation. The whole spiritual drama shifts from an external war to an internal wrestling match.
Okay, so we've met the adversaries, but what's their actual job description? Are they just agents of chaos trying to mess things up? Or is there maybe a higher purpose to what they do?
As you look across the traditions, you can see three main roles pop up. First, there's the accuser, sort of like a heavenly lawyer, testing how genuine people's faith is. Second, there's the tempter, who introduces the option to disobey. And third, you have the tester. This is the idea that the adversary is allowed by God to create challenges that actually end up strengthening our faith and making free will, meaningful.
But here's something that all three traditions absolutely agree on. God is number one, always. Divine power is absolute. The adversary is never an equal opponent in some kind of cosmic duel. Whether it's an external enemy or an internal urge, its power is always limited, only allowed to operate within the boundaries that God sets. So it only makes sense, right? If you define the enemy differently, your game plan for how to win is going to be completely different too.
Each tradition offers a unique toolkit. Christian theology talks about spiritual warfare, trusting in a victory that Christ has already won. Rabbinic Judaism's approach is all about discipline and study. The Talmud famously says that God created the Torah as the antidote to the evil inclination. And in Islam, the main strategy is to remember God and seek refuge in Him, knowing the tempter has no real power over a sincere heart.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, is that how you define the adversary completely changes the nature of the fight. Is your main job to defeat an enemy out there, to master an impulse inside, or to find shelter from a whisper you keep hearing?
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. Where is the real battlefront? Is it against some enemy out in the cosmos? Or is it in the tough, lifelong work of understanding and mastering the complicated territory of our own hearts?